This is the Biola Housing Selection video guide for apartments. In this video, I'll cover important dates and deadlines, apartment eligibility and priority, and how the apartments are selected. In order to participate in apartment selection, you must be an undergraduate, unmarried student that is 20 years or older by the first day of fall classes and intend to return to Biola for the fall 2018 semester. There are two possible exceptions that can be requested. The first is for students whose 20th birthday is close to September 4th. These students may request an exception based on their individual circumstances, and their cumulative class credits will be considered in the decision. The second exception is for students who will be in the credentialing program or grad students who are currently living in undergrad housing and want to live here again for next year. Both of these groups should fill out the apartment exception request form on the housing website on or before March 6th. For the past 2 years, apartment priority has been given to current Biola residents who will be 20 years or older and will be seniors by credit. To be considered a future senior, you must have more than 88 units currently in progress at Biola. The more seniors by credit there are in a group, the higher the chances are that they will be guaranteed an apartment during apartment raffle. If you will be a future senior, you can choose to have a future junior as a roommate, but it will decrease your priority number. Future juniors, take note for next year. If you stay on campus for fall 2018 and spring 2019, you will have the highest priority next year. If you move off campus, your priority will decrease for next year. The apartments will be raffled off on Monday, March 12th. All apartment applicants will find out in an email sent at noon whether or not they are guaranteed an apartment. If you and your group are guaranteed an apartment, the email will also contain your specific apartment selection time for Tuesday, March 13th. To be included in the apartment raffle, you and all of your roommates must complete steps 2 and 3 by the March 8th deadline. Also, and this is critical, on the housing application you need to answer yes to whether or not you want to be included in the apartment raffle, which is question 2M. If you don't answer yes, you will not be included in the apartment raffle. In the raffle, your group size determines what type of apartment you can get. So a group of 2 will qualify for a 1-bedroom, 2-person apartment only. A group of 3 will qualify for a 1-bedroom, 3-person apartment only. And a group of 4 will qualify for a 2-bedroom, 4-person apartment. There are also 2 5-person, 2-bedroom apartments for women in the La Mirada apartments, so contact the housing office if your group is interested in one of those apartments. Make sure you guys roommate match before the deadline on March 8th. For the groups that are guaranteed an apartment, they will move on to step 4, selecting a specific apartment at their selection time during the apartment selection process on Tuesday, March 13th. If you apply for an apartment and your group does not get one during the raffle, don't worry, you still have some great options. First of all, you and your roommates will automatically be included in the residence hall selection process beginning March 22nd, and you'll be given priority over the students who are not apartment eligible. Right now we have almost 1,200 students living here who are 20 years and older that chose to live in the residence halls for their junior or senior year. We'd love to have you here again next year if you don't get an apartment. Just a heads up, if you go through this process and select a bed, you're contracted for it. And if you decide to cancel at any time, the cancellation fees will apply, so please choose wisely. Secondly, you can sign up to be on the apartment standby list in case we get cancellations. We'll send you the link for the apartment standby list after apartment selection is over. And finally, you can move off campus so long as you're not required to live here. Sometimes this can be a really easy option, and sometimes it can get really complicated. So just make sure you know what you're getting into if you go off campus. Also, be sure to check with financial aid since where you live may or may not impact your aid for the next year. If you choose non-Biola housing, make sure you or your roommate do not select a bed for you and unmatch from any roommates so they don't have the power to select a room for you. So to recap, if you are guaranteed an apartment during the apartment raffle, you will select your specific apartment on March 13th. If you don't get an apartment during the apartment raffle, you will be automatically included in the residence hall selection process and you'll get priority to pick a room. Otherwise, you can find housing off campus. Before you select an apartment, do a little research about the available options. For information on each specific apartment, visit biola.edu/housing and click on halls and apartments to take a self-guided tour of any apartment complex you'd like. You're also welcome to go over and visit the people who live there and see if they'd be willing to show you a room. The apartment floor plans will be on the housing selection website before the apartment selection date. Remember that the contract is in full effect as soon as you or your roommate select an apartment. Remember that if you change your mind about housing, the cancellation fees will apply, which usually amount to over $1,000. Also, the housing contract is for both semesters unless you plan to cancel housing for the spring semester because you're going to study abroad, you're getting married, or you graduated in fall. If you need help at all, let us know. Visit the housing website email us or give us a call, and feel free to follow us on Twitter for live updates during the apartment selection. Myself, Priscilla, Alex, or Liz are happy to help answer your questions about apartment selection.